Well, hello my friends, Alfredo here, the Rebel Turner. Today I want to give you a little update on changes that I've done to my articulating arm. And changes have not been drastic from the initial design, but the results are night and day. The first thing I did from the original design is I changed the tool arm. The tool arm now consists of a 3/4 inch heavy gauge galvanized steel, and the length is about so the arm itself is 13 inches in length. This bar right here with a round cutter, that was identical to this, and it came all the way from back here from this bolt on forward. So you can see that I'm actually still a little bit longer than what this protruded out. And that protruded out to the cutter 17 inches to this area right here. So 17 inches is the overall length of from cutter head to the back of this. So what I did with this cutter right here is I cut it down. Okay, somewhere I have the leftover from that. But anyway, what I did is I took the head of this pipe that used to be the same length as this, and I cut it down about halfway to go into about here. And that's what it does. It goes in about this far with a hole like that, so my set screw goes right through that. With this one I will do the same thing. I'll cut this down about here, put it in, drill it through for the screw. This head, I know I did not focus at all when I built this on this right here. And this right here is a little bit of engineering on my part. What I did is I took the bolt, a 3/8 bolt, and I drilled it through right on the edge of the head and the shaft, smack center. Took it on a drill press. So the reason why I did that is so I can fit a bit of this size and rotate it to any direction that I want it to. The nut, I cut it down, I ground it down half so it sits at the same level as the bar. So I'll be keeping this head this way, and with this other half I'll be doing another cutter of a different style. Most likely what I will do is make a sliver in the center, take off a section from the center of it to make a wedge, and in that wedge I will put a scraper head and drill it all the way through with the bottom part of it tapped, and tightening it up, it will lock the head in that wedge area to the direction that I want. And I'm thinking making a round scraper and maybe a pointy offset angle scraper to do the same as this. So that's the plan. The other thing I did, and I showed this quick video on it, on what I did for that, is the laser arm. I initially hooked up the laser arm to the USB, and it worked fine. And looked it up to see what was the voltage going through it, or what was the voltage coming out of a USB, and I could not find any information on how to wire up a laser for something like this. until after the fact. And my thought was I would place a 9-volt battery here, since I had a wire going up the front of this down into the laser, and I would use that instead of the USB wire that had to be wired all the time and overhead, or to wherever I have a power source for the USB. Well, I knew I did not want that to be the feature on it, so the 9 volts to me was going to work out, I thought, perfect solution. 9 volts is too strong, and it burned out the diode on the laser that I had. It wasn't that expensive of a laser, so but tomorrow I have another laser coming to replace that one. It was a $13 item on Amazon. I went to Walmart. I picked up a stylus combination, but the laser is way too weak. Did not give me a good signal. So I'll wait, and I will drill this according to the correct size. The other thing I want to do is set up 2 AA batteries pack on the top of this to have a micro switch on off that will in turn bring the wire through, and I will drill through the back of this and come out in the front of this, and then the wire will just come out over here and down into the laser. That's what I'm thinking of doing, and I think that should work out pretty well. But the laser itself has proven to work really well. A great addition to the arm. The other thing I did, and I haven't tried that yet, but it will be in the works, is when I locked this up with a 1/4" bolt and a nut that is made to go into this threaded area right here. So the arm, I will just screw it in and it's good to go. Tighten it up all the way and it's facing pretty much right on to the point that I need. The other reason why I did that also is to, actually this came out of one of my subscribers' suggestion. I had been thinking about it, but not for the area that was pointed out to me, and it's like, wow, you know, again, you know, we get ideas from different people, and this one, the way I'm going to be using it is a suggestion from somebody else. I was thinking, hey, it would be a cool effect if I once in a while put the camera right on this arm, okay, and it's facing forward, and as I'm going into the material, the camera is going in and out, and I think for a viewer that would be a great idea. But what one of my subscribers' comment was, hey, it would be great to have a camera lined up so you can see what you're doing, so I'm not bending over and seeing what's happening inside of the hollow vessel. That is, if the hollow vessel has a wide enough mouth. If it doesn't have a wide enough mouth, well, that's going to make it kind of difficult. But either way, this will assist. And the fact that I have a monitor screen right above my lathe, well, if I'm monitoring it from the camera, then I don't have to be looking inside. I can just glance up at the screen and know exactly what's going on through the eye of the camera. So this camera will not work because this camera does not have a DVI out, but it will work with the camera that you're viewing from. So that's this camera right here, the one that's filming, is the one that's going to be mounting over here. So I just showed that as an example of what is happening with the setup. The initial design, the arms were 12 inches long, each arm. I made each one of these pieces 12 inches, and this one 6. I estimated that 6. It doesn't have to be 6, it's actually 4 3/4. So anyway, this arm is irrelevant on its length, but it will impact on how long your tool arm is. And these were initially 12 inches, but the holes were not perfect in location. When I brought it to the drill press, I did a hole and then the other one, and then I marked it, and well, you can't do it that way, because if you're slightly off one way or the other, whether if it's inland or offset, it will twist your arm one way or the other. And when you move between 1, 2, 3 joints, any unevenness you have really exaggerates on which way this travels. So when I first built it, depending on how I had the arm, it would be sitting smack on the top of my tool rest, center of the center point of the lathe. And if I turned the arm the opposite direction from the back side, it would be up an inch from the tool rest. So it's crucial. So what I did is I recut the ends down on both of these arms, this arm and this one, and I re-drilled it. So this one right now, the distance that I have from bolt to bolt is 8.5 inches, and this one from bolt to bolt I got 10 inches. They could both be 8.5 inches, they could be 8 inches, 9 inches, or both 10 inches. And they don't have to be exactly the same size, but that's what I did. And if I was going to do it again, I'd make them up at 9 inches and drill the holes that I need. So they would end up like 8 inches on center, 8.5 inches on center for the bolts. The banjo. I use the banjo because I had one handy from an old lathe that I did not use. As a matter of fact, an old lathe that I cut up all the pieces to make different tools for the shop. I'm sure some of you have seen that I did my sharpening jig with it, and so on and so forth. So, and I set up a wrench. I have a breaker bar under here, and since I'm not doing automotive work, it's the right size, and I just tighten it up in its location, and that's good to go. So the arm can go in all different directions, and the arm has a nice sturdiness to it before even applying the tool rest. If the tool rest is all the way out here, I still have a very rigid arm that will hold up to a certain amount of impact. It's not going to, maybe it's not going to hold up to a super catch, but my hopes is never to get to those. And if it was a handheld thing and you have a super catch, well, guess what? Your arm is going to jerk up, you're going to throw off your shoulder, the piece is going to go flying off the lathe. This will absorb most of the impact that I got there. 3/8 bolts going through here, I don't see the possibility of this going anywhere. As you know, I got bushings in these swivel points that are exactly to the size between here and here, and same thing on this one. And when I tighten up these nuts, no matter how tight I tighten, as tight as my might can go, all it's doing is tightening up to that little tube that I got in there, you know, which is what keeps it moving, but it's tight enough that it does move, but not free rolling like a Baron would do. It has a little bit of friction when I'm doing that. So this will allow me to go into a piece, if the piece per se is here, but generally my tailstock is all the way back there when I'm working with this. So, but this would allow me to go into the entrance of a bolt, and Not really here because you don't have the flexibility of being able to come from the back side. You need to set this up where you can come in from the back and scrape towards you. So the only thing that would also be nice if you're doing something like this would be to use a metal that doesn't rust up on you. This is just off-the-shelf metal stock from Home Depot. I sanded it down, but right now I see that I have to put an oil or something to protect it. This is galvanized, and so is this. The tool arm, tool holder arm, and the post is galvanized steel. I wish all of it had been galvanized, but this is what it is. So a great addition to anybody's workshop. If you want to make a nice tool that's an upgrade, and if you were to buy it, it costs close to $300, and you can do it for under 40 bucks. So there you go. That's the articulating arm update. Thanks for watching.